Detroiters episode 5, Happy Birthday, Mr. Duvet. Really funny episode, as always. This is kind of going to focus on what made me laugh the most. First off, I was surprised that it had anything to do with Sam's dad. I just assumed that it was going to be him based off of the title. I just figured, oh, it's an episode about Sam's birthday. And this was even better because his dad was absolutely hilarious. I wish I could remember his sister's names because obviously it's Sam, Tim, and then Tim's wife, who is also Sam's sister, but I can never remember her name. But their dad is funny. Like, he's kind of an a-hole where it's like, you know, like they even talk about it in the very beginning of the episode. It's like, you know, he'll critique your speech, like your birthday speech to him. He'll be like, oh, you know, you didn't enunciate or you didn't speak loud enough for everyone to hear you. And like when the girl was crying and stuff, he's like, see, this is mic placement. Like she cried talking about him and he's like, see, this is why mic placement is important because we can even hear you through your tears. I'm like, what in the world? That's a really effed up thing to say. Like she's having this really serious moment and he's just like, mic placement. It's like, I don't know, he's kind of an a-hole. But it was really funny, like especially the fact that they did the hustle like 5 times in this episode. It made me laugh. It got funnier as it went on, and my favorite one, because I think they mentioned it 5 times, I think they only actually hustled 4 times in the episode, but it was when they were in the bathroom. I didn't think it was going to cut to them hustling, but it was just like, hey guys, and then it just cut straight to them dancing, and like in the middle of them dancing. I was just like, wow, that one really caught me off guard. But they were hustling a bunch in the episode, which I thought was really funny. Man, Tim and the clown guy, that's what got me at the end of this episode. Like the whole way through, I was already laughing at stuff, and you know, Sam takes over for his father as far as, you know, crapping in the bathroom, and I don't know why the other guy was like, hey, everybody come check this out and stuff. So there's just a lot of crazy stuff happening in this episode with, you know, Sam, you know, his dad not having the mustache anymore, which was hilarious. Tim stealing his jokes, which is kind of messed up, and then Sam freaking out like, what in the world do I do? And so the kid ends up singing the song, which I thought that was crazy too, and then we find out that's their dad's favorite song, so it's like, okay, that actually would have made sense, but of course the kid sung it. Kid was freaking hilarious in this episode, who was talking to Tim, and he's like, oh, if Santa doesn't exist, then who gave me this huge hog? And I was like, wow, what's up with this kid? So he was really funny. All the random issues that Sam was going through as far as what he was going to do for the speech, and the one guy, the guy who was like, hey, everybody check out the crap in the bathroom, him giving him the weird advice about putting a giant top hat on his head and making like a face with his stomach. He was like, oh, don't do that, somebody else did it. And of course his dad loved that too, so he's freaking out like, what the F am I going to say to my father? So it was really good. I just loved watching him freak out, and Tim with this clown. And it was just through the whole episode, he's like, look, I'm not working, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And then he falls off the stage, and we see, you know, he winks at Tim. And I was like, that in itself was silly enough. I was like, the whole episode he was doing that just to kind of mess with them. As if it was like super artistic. It was way beyond just being a funny clown. He went like above and beyond the whole episode. Like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. But he did the fall off the stage. And then when he fell on that table, I don't know why. It wasn't even that funny, honestly. But it made me laugh so hard. And I don't know, it was just freaking hilarious. And of course Tim was like screaming, and I didn't see it coming, but when he was like, in your face pie lady, and her husband punched him in the stomach, that kept me laughing, because him screaming like that, that was freaking funny to me. So that had me rolling. The pie thing was funny. It was clear it was a totally different person too, because I'm like, this dude through the whole episode is this older guy. He has gray hair and everything, and then they had like the pie fall, you know, stunt double. I'm like, this is like a dude who's probably like 30 years younger. He had like black hair and everything. It was just funny to me because I was like, clearly that's not even, they didn't even like color the guy's hair in or anything. It was just like a much younger person. But it was such a funny moment, and the pies are flying, and Tim's losing his effing mind, like finally, which was really weird. The beginning of the episode, he's like, I never met a clown before. It was like he'd never seen a clown before in real life, which was insane to me. That's how he made it seem, at least, even though he specifically said I never met one. I was like, I feel like that means he's never seen one before. So he's, you know, trying to get this dude to do anything and everything is like a joke. But it was really funny. And then, of course, him being punched and just the noises he was making made me laugh like crazy. But love this episode. That was really funny. Actually, I was surprised it was very different for the show, because the other episodes, they jump all over the place. But this was, you know, very succinct. No commercial for this episode, but still had me rolling. So it was interesting. They kind of, stepped away a little bit from kind of the formula of the show with them advertising and stuff like that. So it was pretty interesting to see it that way, but it was still hilarious. They were also in like one location the whole episode too, and they definitely made it work. We got to see Sam's ex-girlfriend, who I think wants to be a part of the family. It was kind of hard to tell when she did like her speech and she hugged his dad, and she's smiling, and then she like looked at him like evil, and I was like, why'd she do that? Like, is she mad at him because they broke up, or what was happening? And then they were sharing food with each other and stuff. It was like they got right back into that routine, but they're broken up. Definitely made me laugh when her and Tim was going back and forth, and she was like, don't make me bust you for that crack. And he's like, how did you do that? And they were just laughing it up, and I'm like, wow. Like, it's silly stuff, like Detroit police thing. It was just really funny to me. And her, during her speech, and the walkie goes off, and it's like, it was like, the guy said something, he was like, I'm hit, and like, I need everybody. And she was like, oh, I just turned that off and keep my speech going. So she was funny. I don't know if we'll get to see more of her. I was curious. That was something that they introduced. Like, this is something they introduced quite a few things, because I kind of wondered about this show, like how deep we would really get into Sam and Tim's like personal lives, or if it would just be, this is what they do, with the advertising. We know a little bit about Tim's personal life because his dad used to own the company and he went nuts, but we don't know like if his mother's alive or anything like that. We hadn't heard of Sam's parents before, but we saw both of them in this episode, so it kind of dived a little bit into the personal element, specifically for Sam, of course. But really enjoyed this one. I recently found out, because somebody commented on my last video, that the Devereaux Wigs commercial was based off of Dietrich Furs, which is an old Detroit commercial. I had never heard of that in my life. But apparently they have a YouTube channel, and I watched one of their videos, and it is the horse video from the last episode. So I plan on doing a reaction video, because they actually have like 5 of their commercials, and they just made a brand new one because of the Detroiters episode. It's called like Dietrich Furs, the original Detroiters. So I'm gonna do a reaction to all those for anyone who might be interested. And once I actually end up doing that video, it might not be out this week, but I'll end up doing that sometime within the next week, and I'll have a link in the description for that for anyone who might want to check it out. But I watched that first commercial, and it was just like the Devereaux Wigs commercial in the last one. The music was almost identical. It was a woman in a fur coat on a horse, and it was just hilarious. The other ones were like 2 women skiing, and there was apparently a hot air balloon commercial. I'm like, I don't understand why that would have anything to do with furs, but commercials today are really weird and have nothing to do with stuff. Like car commercials, especially if they're like Super Bowl commercials, they have nothing to do with the car. It's like, oh yeah, here's a car in the last 10 seconds. So it was kind of like that, but from the 80s. But it was really funny. Probably I think it was in the 80s. I'm not sure. But I had no idea that that was a reference to Detroit. But I'm going to do some reactions to those, because that was making me laugh as to how close they did the actual Devereaux Wigs commercial. It was almost identical. The only thing that was missing was a bunch of snow. That was it. Other than that, it was the same. But I'm going to do some reactions to that. Of course, would love to know what got you guys in this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about this one, your least favorite parts. As always, just want to know what made you laugh the most. For me personally, it was definitely the ending. Like I said, I don't really understand why him falling on the pies made me laugh so much. I guess because it was just so ridiculous, because he was like 5 feet from the table. He's like doing this, and then he just went and turned 100% and then just walked towards the table. I'm like, he wasn't even close to falling, and maybe that's what made me laugh so much. And then Tim being hit was just absolutely hilarious. I was trying not to laugh too loud because my girlfriend was sleeping. Like, she doesn't watch the show, but she like, it's my type of comedy. It just makes me laugh so much. So really enjoying this one. Like I said, I would love to know what made you guys laugh the most. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.